Fluency in English is a skill that many people strive to achieve, and it's particularly important in today's globalized world, where English has become a dominant language in international business, education, and communication. Reaching fluency in English doesn't simply mean knowing the rules of grammar or having a big vocabulary. It's about being able to use the language effectively and comfortably in real-life situations. There are several techniques and approaches that can help someone improve their English fluency. And these techniques often focus on building confidence, expanding vocabulary, improving pronunciation, and developing a more natural rhythm of speaking. Daily practice and consistency. One of the most important aspects of becoming fluent in English is regular, consistent practice. Just like learning any new skill, fluency in a language requires muscle memory. Practicing speaking every day, even if it's just for a few minutes, can make a huge difference. This doesn't mean that you need to have deep, complex conversations right away. You can start small by talking about things you see around you, your plans for the day, or how you're feeling. Over time, these short sessions can help you get used to forming sentences and speaking without hesitation. It's also helpful to set aside specific times each day for speaking practice, as this helps you build a habit. The more consistently you practice, the easier it will become to think and speak in English. The power of listening. Listening is often an overlooked part of language learning, but it's incredibly important for improving fluency. When you listen to native English speakers, whether in movies, podcasts, or everyday conversations, you're exposed to the natural rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation of the language. You'll notice how sentences flow, how words are connected, and how emotions are expressed through tone. Active listening involves paying attention, not just to what is being said, but also to how it's being said. By observing these nuances, you can start to imitate them in your own speech, which will make you sound more natural and confident. To make the most of listening practice, try to choose a variety of sources. Watching English language movies or TV shows is a great way to hear conversational English, while podcasts or news shows can give you exposure to more formal language. Thinking directly in English. A common challenge for language learners is the habit of translating sentences from their native language into English. This process of translating back and forth not only slows down communication, but also makes it harder to think naturally in English. A great way to overcome this is to start thinking directly in English. For example, if you're deciding what to eat for lunch, try to think through the decision in English, rather than your native language. As you get more comfortable, you can start thinking about other things in English, like your plans for the weekend or what you need to buy at the grocery store. Thinking directly in English helps reduce the mental barrier between the language you know and the language you're learning, making it easier to speak without hesitation. It may feel challenging at first, but with time, it will become more natural. Building vocabulary through context. Expanding your vocabulary is another key component of fluency, but it's important to approach it in a way that's practical and sustainable. Rather than simply memorizing long lists of words, try to learn new vocabulary in context. For example, if you're learning words related to cooking, you could watch cooking videos or read recipes in English. This way, you're not only learning the words, but also seeing how they're used in sentences and understanding their nuances. Vocabulary learned in context is much easier to remember, and it's more likely to stick in your memory because you're associating it with real situations. Another technique is to focus on common phrases and expressions rather than individual words. This is especially useful in English, as there are many phrases that native speakers use regularly that may not have a direct translation in other languages. Learning these phrases will help you sound more natural and less robotic. Recording yourself for self-assessment. One effective way to track your progress and identify areas for improvement is to record yourself speaking English. When you listen to the recording, you might notice things like mispronounced words, unusual pauses, or areas where you struggle to find the right words. This self-assessment can help you pinpoint specific issues that you can work on in your practice sessions. Recording yourself also allows you to see how much you've improved over time, which can be very motivating. Overcoming the fear of hearing your own voice is also a big confidence booster. Many language learners are self-conscious about their accent or pronunciation, but the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become with your own voice in English. Engaging in real conversations. While practicing alone is helpful, engaging in real conversation is one of the most effective ways to improve fluency. Speaking with a native speaker or someone fluent in English gives you the chance to practice responding in real time, using the language naturally and dynamically. There are many platforms where you can find language exchange partners, or you could consider joining a local English-speaking group if there's one in your area. When you have conversations, don't worry too much about making mistakes. The goal is to communicate and express yourself, not to be perfect. Every conversation is an opportunity to learn something new and become more comfortable speaking English. Improving pronunciation. Pronunciation can be a challenging part of becoming fluent in English, especially because English has so many sounds that may not exist in other languages. Working on pronunciation is important for clear communication, and it can also give you more confidence in your speaking skills. You can find many online resources, including YouTube videos and language apps, that offer exercises to help you master difficult sounds. Focus on one sound at a time and practice it until you feel comfortable. Intonation and stress patterns are also important aspects of pronunciation in English. The meaning of a sentence can change based on which words are stressed, so practicing these patterns will help you sound more natural and expressive. Be patient and consistent. Finally, it's important to remember that fluency doesn't happen overnight. Learning a language is a long process, and it requires patience and persistence. It's normal to feel frustrated or discouraged at times, but don't let these feelings stop you from practicing. Every small improvement is a step toward fluency, and the more consistently you practice, the faster you'll reach your goal. Celebrate your progress along the way, and don't be too hard on yourself if you make mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of learning, and each one is an opportunity to improve. Keep your goals in mind and remind yourself why you're learning English in the first place. Whether it's for work, travel, or personal growth, staying motivated will make the journey more enjoyable. Putting it all together. Improving fluency in English requires a combination of speaking practice, active listening, vocabulary building, and self-assessment. By integrating these techniques into your daily routine, you can gradually build the confidence and skills you need to communicate effectively in English. Remember that there's no single right way to become fluent. Everyone's journey is different, and it's important to find the strategies that work best for you. The most important thing is to keep going, even when it feels challenging. Over time, you'll find that speaking English becomes easier and more enjoyable, and you'll be able to express yourself with confidence and ease. Embrace immersion. Immersing yourself in English is one of the most powerful ways to improve your fluency. Immersion doesn't mean you have to move to an English-speaking country. There are many ways to create an English-speaking environment around you, no matter where you are. Surround yourself with English by reading English books, watching movies, listening to music, or even changing the language on your phone and social media apps. By doing so, you will be exposed to the language constantly, which will help you pick up new vocabulary, understand cultural nuances, and get used to the rhythm and flow of English. Consider joining online communities or forums where English is the primary language. This can be a great way to practice reading and writing, as well as to interact with people who share your interests. If you enjoy cooking, for example, you could join a food blog community. If you're into fitness, you might join a workout group that discusses exercise routines. Engaging with English content that you genuinely enjoy will make the learning process feel more like a hobby and less like a chore. Use technology to your advantage today. There are countless apps and platforms designed to help people learn and practice English. Language learning apps like Duolingo, Babel, and HelloTalk allow you to practice vocabulary and grammar, while social media apps like Clubhouse offer the chance to join live discussions with people from around the world. Additionally, many AI-based apps now offer real-time feedback on pronunciation and grammar, helping you make adjustments as you speak. If you prefer a more structured approach, platforms like Coursera, Udemy, or EDX provide English courses tailored to different proficiency levels, often with a focus on specific skills like business English or conversational fluency. These resources can be particularly helpful if you're aiming to improve your English for professional purposes. Using technology gives you the flexibility to practice at your own pace and on your own schedule, making it easier to fit language practice into your daily routine. Learn with a purpose. Setting specific goals for your English fluency can make a big difference in your progress. Having a purpose for learning the language can keep you motivated and give your practice sessions more focus. For example, if you're learning English because you want to advance your career, focus on vocabulary and expressions relevant to your field. If you're planning to travel, practice common phrases used in everyday situations like ordering food, asking for directions, or making hotel reservations. Goals can also help you measure your improvement. For instance, if you set a goal to have a 5-minute conversation with a native speaker without stopping, you'll know you're making progress once you can accomplish it. Other goals might include watching a full English movie without subtitles, giving a presentation in English, or reading an English book from start to finish. Breaking down your goals into smaller steps can make the journey toward fluency feel more manageable and rewarding. Emphasize cultural learning. Fluency in a language is not just about words and grammar, it's also about understanding cultural contexts. English is spoken differently in various countries, and each place has its own set of slang, idioms, and expressions. By learning more about the cultures where English is the native language, you can gain a deeper understanding of how and why people speak the way they do. Watching movies, reading novels, or learning about the history and customs of English-speaking countries can give you insight into the cultural nuances that shape the language. When you understand cultural references, humor, and idiomatic expressions, you'll find it easier to connect with native speakers. For instance, many idioms and expressions in English don't have literal meanings, but are tied to historical or cultural events. Knowing the story behind these expressions can make your conversations more engaging and authentic. Plus, people often appreciate it when language learners take an interest in their culture, which can create a more welcoming environment for practicing your English. Practice shadowing. Shadowing is a technique where you listen to a native speaker and try to repeat what they're saying as closely as possible, copying their intonation, rhythm, and pronunciation. This method is particularly effective for developing a natural flow in your speech, as it helps you get used to speaking without pausing or hesitating. Choose a video, podcast, or movie clip with a native speaker and try to repeat their words exactly as they say them. This can feel challenging at first, but with practice, you'll become more comfortable mimicking the native speaker's speech patterns. Shadowing not only improves pronunciation, but also builds muscle memory for sentence structure and rhythm. When you repeat sentences and phrases, your mouth and vocal cords get used to forming English sounds, making it easier to speak without stumbling. Some learners find it helpful to start with slower recordings, such as children's shows or podcasts for English learners, before moving on to faster, more complex materials. Engage in thoughtful reflection. Reflection is an important part of any learning process, including language learning. After you have a conversation in English or complete a practice session, take a few minutes to think about what went well and where you could improve. Perhaps there were words or phrases that you struggled with, or maybe there was a moment when you felt particularly confident. Reflecting on these moments allows you to identify your strengths and weaknesses, so you can focus your future practice on the areas that need improvement. Writing a language learning journal can also be helpful. By jotting down your daily reflections, new words you learned, or specific challenges you encountered, you can track your progress over time. This can be a great way to see how far you've come and to stay motivated on days when you feel discouraged. Reflecting on your language learning journey also helps reinforce the things you've learned, making it easier to remember new vocabularies and expressions. Build a support network. Learning a language can be challenging, and having a support network can make the process more enjoyable and motivating. This network could be a group of friends who are also learning English, an online community of language learners, or a language exchange partner who speaks English fluently. Sharing your progress, challenges, and successes with others can give you a sense of camaraderie and make the journey feel less lonely. Language exchange partners, in particular, can be invaluable. Many people around the world are looking to practice different languages, and you can help each other learn by alternating between English and your native language. This exchange not only improves your speaking skills, but also gives you insight into how others learn languages, which can be inspiring and educational. Overcome the fear of making mistakes. One of the biggest barriers to fluency for many learners is the fear of making mistakes. It's natural to feel self-conscious when speaking a new language, but making mistakes is a crucial part of the learning process. Every time you make a mistake, you have the opportunity to learn and improve. Remember that even native speakers make mistakes, and most people will appreciate your effort to communicate in their language. To build confidence, remind yourself that communication is the main goal, not perfection. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become, and over time, speaking English will feel less intimidating. Try to embrace mistakes as learning moments, and don't let the fear of imperfection hold you back from speaking up and practicing. Reward your progress. Finally, recognize and reward your progress. Language learning can be a long journey, and celebrating small victories along the way can keep you motivated. Maybe you finally nailed a tricky pronunciation, had a conversation without hesitating, or understood a song in English. Each achievement is a sign of your progress, and taking a moment to acknowledge it can boost your confidence and keep you motivated to continue. Set milestones and reward yourself when you reach them. For example, treat yourself to a favorite activity or meal after reaching a certain level of fluency. Or reward yourself with a new book in English once you've completed a course. These rewards make the process more enjoyable and provide positive reinforcement for your hard work. By integrating these practices into your daily routine, you'll be well on your way to achieving fluency in English. Each step you take brings you closer to speaking with confidence, understanding more nuances, and feeling comfortable in conversations. Explore different accents and dialects. English is a diverse language, spoken with various accents and dialects around the world. Familiarizing yourself with different English accents, such as American, British, Australian, and others, can deepen your understanding of the language and improve your listening skills. Different accents come with unique pronunciations, slang, and even grammar rules. For example, flat in British English is apartment in American English, and holiday in British English is vacation in American English. Exploring accents helps you become a more adaptable speaker and listener, which is beneficial in a globalized world where you may encounter people from various English-speaking backgrounds. To practice, watch videos or listen to podcasts from speakers with different accents. This exposure will improve your listening skills and make it easier to understand English in various contexts, while also making you a more versatile communicator. Focus on intonation and stress. Intonation and stress play a big role in how English is spoken. Unlike some languages where words are pronounced evenly, English relies on a pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables that give it a natural rhythm. Words in a sentence are often stressed to highlight meaning, and different intonations can completely change the tone or implication of what's being said. Learning to recognize and use intonation properly can help you convey your message more effectively and sound more natural. For example, in English, the question, "You're coming to the party, aren't you?" could sound excited or doubtful depending on the speaker's intonation. Practicing intonation can be as simple as listening to English speakers and noting how they emphasize certain words. Repeating after native speakers can help you adopt these patterns, which will make your speech sound smoother and more fluent. Engage in public speaking or join debates. Public speaking is a challenging but highly effective way to improve your English fluency. It pushes you to organize your thoughts, articulate them clearly, and speak confidently, all essential skills for fluent communication. Look for opportunities to give short presentations in English, whether at work, in class, or at a language club. If public speaking is intimidating, start with small groups or even practice in front of a mirror. Debate clubs or informal debates with friends can also boost your fluency by helping you think quickly in English. Debates require quick thinking and clear expression, which builds both your vocabulary and your ability to convey complex ideas. Practicing in such high-energy, interactive settings will make regular conversations feel much easier and less stressful by comparison. Read aloud regularly. Reading aloud is an excellent way to improve both fluency and pronunciation. When you read aloud, you're practicing forming sounds and words, which helps build the muscle memory needed for smooth speech. Reading text with a lot of dialogue, such as plays or novels, can also help you pick up on conversational language and natural expressions. Choose books, articles, or stories that interest you and read them out loud each day. If you struggle with certain words, make a note of them and look up their pronunciation. Reading aloud also helps you understand the rhythm and flow of English sentences, and it can make you more aware of how punctuation affects speaking. For example, commas create a pause while periods signal the end of a thought. Understanding this flow makes it easier to convey your ideas clearly when speaking. Create a vocabulary notebook. Building vocabulary is crucial for fluency. But it's easy to forget new words if you don't use them regularly. Keeping a vocabulary notebook can help you organize and retain new words, phrases, and idioms. Write down new vocabulary you encounter in conversations, while watching movies, or while reading. Include example sentences to understand how words are used in context, and review them periodically to reinforce your memory. To make the process interactive, you could create flashcards with the words and their meanings. Digital flashcard apps like Anki or Quizly can make it even easier to study. Use your vocabulary notebook regularly and challenge yourself to incorporate new words into your conversations. Over time, you'll find that your vocabulary grows naturally, and you'll have a wider range of words to choose from when speaking. Watch English content with subtitles. Watching English movies, shows, or documentaries with subtitles can be a great way to improve both your listening and reading skills. Start by watching with subtitles in your native language to understand the context. Then switch to English subtitles as you become more comfortable. Watching with subtitles can help reinforce vocabulary, show you how words are used in context, and introduce you to idioms and expressions. Once you're more advanced, try watching without any subtitles to challenge your listening comprehension. Rewatching familiar content can also be helpful, as knowing the storyline allows you to focus more on language details and less on following the plot. This method is particularly useful for building both listening skills and the ability to understand spoken English at a native pace. Learn from your mistakes. One of the best ways to improve your fluency is by learning from your mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of learning, and each one offers a valuable lesson. Whenever you make a mistake in pronunciation, grammar, or vocabulary, take a moment to understand why it happened and how you can correct it in the future. You might even write down common mistakes in your notebook and review them periodically. Don't let the fear of mistakes hold you back from speaking. Many learners feel embarrassed when they make errors, but most native speakers are patient and understanding. In fact, they often appreciate the effort and are willing to help you improve. Treat mistakes as learning opportunities rather than setbacks, and you'll become more resilient and confident in your language abilities. Set milestones and track your progress. Setting goals and tracking your progress can keep you motivated on your journey to English fluency. Establish short-term and long-term milestones that you'd like to reach, such as speaking for 5 minutes without hesitation, understanding an English podcast, or reading a novel in English. Celebrate each milestone to acknowledge your achievements and keep yourself inspired to keep learning. Tracking progress can also help you identify areas where you still need improvement. For example, you might notice that your vocabulary has expanded, but your pronunciation still needs work. By reflecting on your progress, you can adjust your study methods to focus on specific areas and make steady, noticeable improvements. Practice self-compassion. Learning a new language, especially reaching fluency, takes time and effort. There will be moments of frustration, self-doubt, and exhaustion. Practicing self-compassion and patience can make a big difference in staying motivated. Be kind to yourself, and remember that language learning is a journey that doesn't have to be perfect. Celebrate small victories, and don't be too critical of setbacks. Building fluency in English is a gradual process that requires commitment, practice, and an open mind. By consistently applying these strategies, daily practice, immersive experiences, vocabulary building, and self-reflection, you'll find that speaking English becomes more natural and enjoyable. Embrace the journey, enjoy the process, and you'll discover that each day brings you closer to achieving the fluency and confidence you're aiming for. Practice thinking in English. One of the most effective ways to speed up your path to fluency is to think in English. When you think in your native language and then translate your thoughts into English, it slows down the process and can lead to awkward phrasing. To avoid this, practice forming thoughts directly in English. Start by thinking about simple things in your daily life, like, I need to buy groceries, or I'll make tea. Over time, try expressing more complex thoughts and ideas in English. You could also start narrating your day in your mind using English. For example, as you're brushing your teeth, you might think, I'm brushing my teeth to start my day fresh. When you get into the habit of thinking in English, it becomes easier to speak fluently because there's no need for translation. Find opportunities to teach others. Teaching someone else is one of the best ways to reinforce your own learning. If you're at an intermediate or advanced level, try helping someone who's just starting to learn English. Explaining vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation to others can deepen your own understanding of the language. You might consider starting a language exchange group where you can help beginners, and in return, they might help you with a language they know well. Teaching not only reinforces what you already know, but also builds confidence as you practice speaking clearly and accurately. Write regularly in English. Writing is a fantastic way to improve both your vocabulary and your ability to structure sentences. It allows you to express your thoughts more clearly and can help you remember new words and grammar rules. Try keeping a daily journal in English, writing short stories, or even creating social media posts. Writing gives you the time to think about the best words and sentence structures to use, which can ultimately improve your speaking skills as well. If you enjoy creative writing, try crafting short stories or poems in English. This can help you experiment with language in a way that builds both vocabulary and expressive ability. Additionally, you could start a blog or online diary where you write in English. This not only improves your language skills, but also lets you document your progress and stay motivated. Practice with English tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are an excellent exercise for practicing pronunciation, especially for sounds that are difficult to master. They require you to enunciate clearly, use your muscles for precise sounds, and think quickly. Phrases like, "She sells seashells," "by the seashore," or "Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers" help you get used to English sounds and rhythm. By practicing tongue twisters regularly, you can improve your clarity and pronunciation, making it easier to speak fluidly without stumbling over words. Start slow, then increase your speed as you get more comfortable. This exercise not only improves fluency, but also builds confidence in pronouncing challenging sounds. Use visualization techniques. Visualization can be a powerful tool for language learning. When learning new words, try to imagine the object, action, or situation the word represents. This mental association can make the word easier to recall later. For example, if you're learning the word beach, visualize a sandy beach with waves, sun, and people relaxing. Visualizing words and concepts strengthen memory, which makes it easier to retrieve vocabulary when you're speaking. You can also use visualization techniques to prepare for specific speaking situations. For instance, if you're preparing for a job interview in English, visualize yourself answering common interview questions confidently. Imagine yourself using new vocabulary and handling the conversation smoothly. Visualization helps you practice in a low-stress way and boosts your confidence in real-life situations. Don't compare yourself to others. Language? Learning is a personal journey, and it's easy to feel discouraged if you start comparing yourself to others who may seem more fluent. Instead of comparing, focus on your own progress and celebrate your improvements. Each person learns at their own pace, and comparing can lead to self-doubt and frustration. Remember that fluency isn't about perfection. It's about being able to communicate effectively. Some learners may pick up pronunciation faster, while others excel in grammar or vocabulary. Recognize your strengths and work on your weaknesses without feeling pressured to keep up with others. Staying focused on your journey makes language learning more enjoyable and fulfilling. Set realistic goals and break them down. Setting clear, realistic goals can keep you motivated and give you a sense of accomplishment. Large goals, like becoming fluent in a year, can feel overwhelming. Break down larger goals into smaller, achievable milestones, such as learning 10 new words a week, having a 5-minute conversation in English, or writing an email in English. Track your progress by noting down each milestone you achieve. For instance, when you can watch a short video without subtitles, or when you can read a full article in English, acknowledge these moments as successes. Setting achievable goals builds momentum and keeps you motivated to keep learning. Understand and embrace language plateaus. As with any skill, learning a language can come with plateaus, periods where it feels like you're not improving, even with regular practice. Language plateaus are normal and happen to nearly every learner. During these times, you may feel stuck or even demotivated, but remember that plateaus are a natural part of the learning process. To overcome a plateau, try switching up your learning methods. If you're mostly practicing with books, try listening to podcasts or watching videos. Or if you've been focusing on vocabulary, shift to working on pronunciation or grammar. Embracing plateaus with patience and resilience will help you break through them and continue progressing. Reflect on your purpose and stay motivated. Understanding why you're learning. English can be a powerful motivator. Take time to reflect on your reasons, whether it's for career advancement, personal satisfaction, or connecting with others around the world. When you remind yourself of your purpose, you can stay motivated, especially on difficult days. Some learners find it helpful to write down their goals and place them somewhere visible as a reminder. Others use vision boards where they put images and quotes that inspire them to keep learning. Whatever your method, keeping your purpose in mind helps you stay committed, even when the journey feels challenging. Celebrate every achievement. Finally, remember to celebrate every success, no matter how small. Language learning is a long journey, and recognizing your progress can keep you motivated. When you complete a book, have a successful conversation, or watch a movie without subtitles, take time to celebrate. Reward yourself in ways that make you feel proud of your accomplishments. Consider sharing your achievements with friends, family, or a language community. Celebrating your progress builds positive reinforcement, helping you stay encouraged and energized as you work toward fluency. By implementing these strategies and staying dedicated, you'll be able to navigate the journey to English fluency with greater ease. Over time, you'll find that speaking, understanding, and connecting with others in English becomes more natural and enjoyable, and the skills you build will open doors to new opportunities and experiences. Keep moving forward, and remember that every bit of practice brings you closer to fluency. Engage in active listening. Active listening is a skill that goes beyond merely hearing words. It involves paying close attention to intonation, pauses, and the emotions behind words. This is especially important when learning English, as it can help you understand how language is used in real-life conversations. Practice active listening by focusing intently on podcasts, conversations, or audiobooks, aiming to understand not just the words but the emotions and context. To improve, you might start by summarizing what you've just heard to yourself, or explaining it in your own words. This exercise strengthens comprehension skills and reinforces new vocabulary. Active listening also helps you develop a better sense of how native speakers express certain ideas or feelings, which can inform your own speaking style and make it easier to understand others in fast-paced conversations. Practice different speaking speeds. Many language learners struggle to find the right pace for speaking English. If you speak too quickly, you may stumble over words, but if you speak too slowly, you may feel self-conscious or lose the listener's interest. Practice speaking at different speeds to find a pace that feels comfortable and natural. Start with a slower, deliberate speed. Then gradually increase your pace as you build confidence and fluency. Try recording yourself speaking at different speeds, then play back the recordings to see which pace sounds best and feels most natural. You could also practice with a language partner and ask for feedback on your pacing. The goal is to find a rhythm that allows you to express yourself clearly while maintaining a flow that feels natural to you. Use English idioms and expressions. Incorporating idioms and expressions can make your English sound more fluent and natural. Common expressions like break the ice, hit the nail on the head, or under the weather add color to your language and help you connect better with native speakers. Understanding these idioms not only improves your comprehension when others use them, but also gives you a wider range of expressions to convey your thoughts and emotions. To get started, learn a few commonly used idioms and try to use them in sentences or conversations. You can look for idioms that match common situations in your life so they feel relevant and easy to remember. Practicing with idioms also helps you become more familiar with the cultural context of English, which enhances your understanding and fluency. Explore English literature and poetry. Reading. English literature and poetry can expose you to different styles, structures, and uses of language. Literature often includes rich vocabulary, varied sentence structures, and unique expressions that can deepen your understanding of English. Additionally, poetry introduces rhythm, rhyme, and wordplay, helping you appreciate the flexibility and beauty of the language. Choose literature and poems that interest you, and take time to analyze the language and imagery used. You could even try reading poems aloud to improve your pronunciation and intonation. By engaging with literature and poetry, you'll not only build vocabulary, but also gain a deeper appreciation for the nuances and expressive potential of English. Keep practicing self-talk in English. Self-talk is a powerful way to build fluency, as it allows you to practice without any external pressure. You can talk to yourself about your day, your thoughts, or even hypothetical scenarios, all in English. This practice helps you think more spontaneously in English and builds comfort with the language. Self-talk can be as simple as narrating your actions while doing everyday tasks, like, "Now I'm making breakfast," or "I should get ready for my meeting." You can also use self-talk to practice difficult vocabulary, expressions, or grammar structures in a low-stakes environment. If you're preparing for a conversation or an interview, practicing what you want to say through self-talk can help you feel more prepared and confident. Self-talk is a versatile tool that allows you to improve your speaking and thinking skills without needing a conversation partner. Incorporate humor and jokes. Humor is an essential aspect of any language, and learning to use and understand jokes in English can improve your fluency. English jokes often involve wordplay, idioms, or cultural references, so learning a few can help you understand the language on a deeper level. Humor also helps you connect with others, as laughing together creates a positive, relaxed environment that encourages conversation. Start with simple puns or commonly shared jokes in English and try to understand why they're funny. Practicing humor also requires you to think quickly and playfully with language, which builds mental flexibility and comfort. Over time, as you gain more confidence, you may even find yourself creating your own jokes or using humor naturally in conversations, adding an extra layer of fluency to your skills. Get feedback regularly. Feedback is crucial for improvement, especially in language learning. Seek feedback from friends, teachers, or language partners, and be open to constructive criticism. Honest feedback can highlight areas for improvement, such as pronunciation, grammar, or vocabulary usage, and help you make targeted adjustments. If you don't have access to regular feedback, consider using language exchange apps or online communities where you can connect with native speakers. Recording yourself and then reviewing your recordings can also provide useful self-feedback. By getting regular input on your progress, you can make steady improvements and address any persistent challenges more effectively. Embrace the journey and be patient. Becoming fluent in English is a gradual process, and it's important to embrace the journey rather than focusing solely on the end goal. Enjoy the small victories, like learning a new word, understanding a tricky sentence, or having a smooth conversation. Language learning is a cumulative process, and each bit of progress adds up over time. Remember that everyone's journey to fluency is unique, and setbacks are a normal part of learning. Stay patient, keep practicing, and be kind to yourself as you navigate challenges. Over time, with dedication and consistent effort, you'll achieve the level of fluency you desire and enjoy the benefits of being able to communicate confidently in English. Incorporating these techniques into your practice routine can help you build fluency in English, improve your speaking confidence, and make the journey more enjoyable.